My sister tried to force me into a relationship with her fiancé's brother by banning my boyfriend from her wedding. Our physical fight left her with a black eye for her bachelorette party and exposed her baby trap secret. I need to let this out because I'm still trying to process what happened last night. 5 years ago, I met Ryan, 26 male, during a chemistry lab in college. We started as lab partners and eventually became friends. He asked me out after a few months, and we've been together ever since. Ryan is one of those genuinely good guys who remembers birthdays, helps my dad fix things around the house, and brings soup when anyone in my family gets sick. My family welcomed him from day one, especially my brothers who take him fishing and to ball games. Ryan and I talk about getting married someday, but we both agreed to focus on our careers and financial stability first. We're doing well. I just got promoted at my marketing firm, and he's finishing his engineer certification. My sister Vanessa is 6 years older than me. Growing up, we were never particularly close. She's always been more dramatic and focused on finding the one. Since she was little, she's talked about her dream wedding, the perfect dress, the perfect venue, the perfect everything. For her, the wedding was always more important than who she'd actually marry. 2 years ago, Vanessa met Derek at a friend's housewarming party. 6 months into their relationship, she started dropping hints about rings and venues. They got engaged a year and a half into dating, and she immediately went into full wedding planning mode. The wedding is now 3 weeks away. Things started getting weird about 8 months ago. Vanessa texted me asking if I wanted to grab dinner with her and a friend on Friday night. I agreed, thinking we'd be meeting one of her girlfriends. When I arrived at the restaurant, I found Vanessa sitting with Derek and another guy who was introduced as Mason, Derek's brother. It became clear very quickly that this was a setup. Throughout dinner, Mason kept touching my arm, asking invasive questions about my relationship status, and suggesting we should hang out sometime. I mentioned Ryan multiple times, but Mason acted like he didn't hear me. After dinner, he asked for my number, which I declined, reminding him again that I had a boyfriend. Vanessa seemed annoyed when I refused. The next awkward encounter happened at their engagement party 3 months ago. Ryan and I were talking with my cousins when I noticed Mason staring at me from across the room. He made his way over and squeezed himself between me and Ryan, practically pushing Ryan aside. Ryan gave me a look that said, "Who is this guy?" I whispered that it was Derek's brother. For the rest of the night, Mason kept finding reasons to approach me, even when I was clearly with Ryan. When Mason went to the bathroom, Ryan mentioned how weird Mason's behavior was. We spent the remainder of the party trying to avoid him. Last month, Vanessa asked me, our younger twin sister Lily, and our 2 brothers, James and Noah, to be part of her wedding party. I agreed, excited to support her despite our differences. Yesterday, Vanessa called to discuss the wedding procession. She informed me that I would be walking down the aisle with Mason. I immediately felt uncomfortable and asked why I couldn't walk with one of my brothers instead. Vanessa explained that Derek insisted on this pairing and she wanted to make him happy. This seemed bizarre. Why would Derek care about who walks with whom? My brothers thought it was strange too and spoke to Vanessa about it, but she got defensive and said it was her wedding and her decision. I went home and told Ryan about the situation. He wasn't jealous, Ryan's too secure for that, but he was concerned for me because he knew how uncomfortable Mason made me feel. Ryan assured me he trusted me completely but didn't like that I was being put in an awkward position. Last night, our family gathered for dinner at our parents' house. I decided to bring up the all pairing issue again, hoping to have my family's support in changing Vanessa's mind. When I mentioned my discomfort with walking with Mason, Vanessa burst into tears, accusing me of trying to ruin her wedding. Everyone looked confused by her extreme reaction. I explained that Mason had made me uncomfortable on multiple occasions and that Ryan was also bothered by the situation. That's when Vanessa dropped the bombshell: if I brought Ryan to the wedding, I would no longer be a bridesmaid. She offered no explanation for why Ryan, who has been part of family gatherings for 5 years, was suddenly unwelcome. My brothers immediately objected, pointing out how ridiculous this demand was, especially since my 19-year-old brother's girlfriend of 6 months was still invited. I gave Vanessa a few days to calm down and reconsider, but she didn't change her mind. I called her yesterday, and she remained firm. Ryan wasn't welcome, and if I insisted on bringing him, I was out of the wedding party. I don't understand why my sister is acting this way. Ryan has been nothing but nice to her and her fiancé. He remembers her favorite coffee order, helped her move into her apartment last year, and even built a bookshelf in her living room. My family loves him. My brothers prefer hanging out with him over Derek. I'm torn about what to do. Should I attend the wedding without Ryan to keep the peace? Should I demand that he be allowed to come? Or should I skip the wedding entirely? My parents haven't been much help. My mom keeps saying I should do what Vanessa wants because it's her day, while my dad thinks the whole situation is ridiculous but doesn't want to get involved. Ryan told me he doesn't want to cause problems and that I should go to the wedding without him if that's what I decide. But it doesn't feel right to exclude him from such an important family event after 5 years together. Plus, I don't want to spend the entire wedding dealing with Mason's unwanted advances without Ryan there as a buffer. I feel like my sister is being completely unreasonable, and I'm starting to wonder if there's something else going on that I'm not aware of. The past few times we've all been together, I've noticed Derek and Mason exchanging looks whenever Ryan and I interact. It's almost like they're plotting something. To make matters worse, my younger brother told me yesterday that he overheard Derek telling Mason that the plan is working when they thought no one was listening. What plan? Is this some weird scheme to get me away from Ryan and set me up with Mason? If so, it's delusional and disrespectful to both me and Ryan. I've always supported Vanessa, even when I disagreed with her choices. When she dropped out of college to find herself for 2 years, I defended her to our parents. When she went through her phase of dating guys who were clearly using her, I was the shoulder she cried on. Now, when I need her to respect my relationship, she's drawing a line in the sand. If I go to the wedding without Ryan, I'm essentially validating her unreasonable demand and potentially subjecting myself to an evening of fending off Mason. If I bring Ryan anyway, I'll cause a scene at her wedding. If I don't go at all, I'll disappoint my parents and potentially damage my relationship with my sister beyond repair. This morning, my mom called to tell me that Vanessa is now threatening to uninvite my brothers if they support me. The wedding is 3 weeks away, and what should be a happy family occasion has turned into a drama-filled nightmare. I never thought I'd be in a position where I had to choose between my sister and my boyfriend, especially when there's no good reason for the choice to exist in the first place. I keep wondering if I'm missing something. Has Ryan done something to offend Vanessa that I don't know about? Is there a reason she suddenly wants him excluded from her wedding? Or is this really just about trying to set me up with Mason against my will? Yesterday, I tried to talk to Derek about it, thinking he might provide some insight. He avoided my questions and kept saying I should trust Vanessa and that everything will make sense after the wedding. That cryptic response only made me more suspicious that something strange is happening. I'm completely lost on what to do. This whole situation feels like it's spiraling out of control, and I'm stuck in the middle without a clear path forward. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since my last post, and things have gotten much worse. I need to process what happened, so here's an update. After posting here, I took some time to think about everyone's advice. Many of you suggested I speak to my parents about Mason's behavior and the weird vibes I was getting from him and Derek. So, last weekend, I asked my dad and mom to meet me for lunch. My brothers, James and Noah, came along for support. I explained everything to my parents, how Mason had been making me uncomfortable since that first surprise dinner, his behavior at the engagement party, and now this strange insistence that I walk with him at the wedding. I also told them about Vanessa's ultimatum regarding Ryan's invitation. Dad was livid when he heard about the dinner setup from months ago. He's always been protective of his daughters, and he didn't appreciate Vanessa trying to play matchmaker when she knew I was in a committed relationship. Mom seemed concerned but kept saying things like maybe there's a misunderstanding and let's not jump to conclusions. Dad asked why I hadn't mentioned Mason's behavior sooner. The truth is, I didn't want to create drama, and I thought I could handle the situation myself. In retrospect, I should have spoken up earlier. Mom decided we needed to have a family meeting to resolve the issue. She called Vanessa and asked her to come over that evening. My twin sister, Lily, also joined us. Ryan stayed home because we thought his presence might make things more tense. The meeting started calmly enough. Dad asked Vanessa why I was no longer walking with James or Noah as originally planned. Vanessa repeated her explanation that Derek wanted me to walk with Mason, and she wanted to make him happy. Dad pressed further, asking why it was so important to Derek who walked with whom in her wedding party. Vanessa couldn't provide a clear answer beyond that's what he wants. I decided to be direct and asked Vanessa why she seemed so determined to push me and Mason together when she knew I was happy with Ryan. I mentioned how uncomfortable Mason made me feel and told her I wouldn't be surprised if he tried something inappropriate during the wedding. That's when Vanessa lost it. She started crying and screaming about how this was supposed to be her perfect day and we were all trying to ruin it. She went on a rant about how she'd been dreaming of this day since she was a little girl and couldn't understand why we were being so difficult. I was tired of the drama, so I said I'd attend the wedding as a guest instead of a bridesmaid and that I'd leave before the reception to avoid any awkward encounters with Mason. James and Noah, being the supportive brothers they are, said they didn't want to be in the wedding party if I wasn't included. This declaration caused Vanessa to completely lose control. She started calling me horrible names I won't repeat here and even insulted Ryan, who wasn't even present to defend himself. I tried to leave the room to defuse the situation, but Vanessa followed me, still yelling. As I reached the door, she grabbed my hair and yanked me backward. Out of instinct, I grabbed her hair too. Vanessa has extensions, and in the struggle, some of them came loose. She let go of me, but then lunged at me again. I put my hands up to defend myself, and my fist connected with her face. I didn't mean to hit her, it was just a reflexive action when she came at me. The result was a black eye for Vanessa, a cut on her cheek, and some missing hair extensions. James and Noah quickly separated us, and Mom rushed to check on Vanessa, while Dad came to see if I was okay. Vanessa was beside herself, crying that her bachelorette party was the following weekend and now she'd have a black eye in all the photos. Mom was upset with me, blaming me for escalating the situation. Dad, however, told Mom that Vanessa was the one who attacked me first, and I had merely defended myself. Before leaving, Vanessa threatened to press charges against me for assault. I'm not too worried about that, there were 5 witnesses who saw her attack me first. Still, the threat shows how far she's willing to go to maintain control of the situation. The next day, Mom called to relay a message from Vanessa. If I apologized to her and agreed to be in the wedding party again, she would allow me to walk with James instead of Mason. I don't trust this offer at all. Given her behavior so far, I suspect she'd change her mind at the last minute and force me to walk with Mason anyway. At this point, I'm leaning toward not attending the wedding at all. The amount of drama and stress this has caused isn't worth it. Ryan feels terrible, believing he's somehow the cause of all this trouble, though none of it is his fault. My parents want me to accept Vanessa's offer because they've already paid for the wedding and want all their children present. James, Noah, and Lily have told me they'll support whatever decision I make. The bachelorette party was last weekend. I obviously didn't attend, but Lily did. She told me Vanessa covered her black eye with makeup and changed the venue to a dimly lit bar. When her friends asked what happened to her face, she claimed she walked into a car door. Lily, James, Noah, Ryan, and I went out that same night and had a great time at a local club. I've been thinking a lot about Vanessa's behavior over the years. She's always been dramatic. She and Lily used to get into huge fights during high school, and Vanessa would have meltdowns after every breakup, acting like her life was over. Our parents often excused her behavior, which is one reason I chose to attend college across the country. During those years, I rarely spoke to her. When I moved back home after graduation, our relationship improved for a while, but she still occasionally has these explosive reactions to minor issues. I've decided to text Mason directly to ask him what's going on. I want to know why he and his brother seem so determined to separate me from Ryan. I'm tired of the secrets and manipulation. If there's some plan involving me, I deserve to know what it is. The wedding is now only 1 week away, and I still haven't decided whether to attend. Ryan continues to encourage me to go, saying he doesn't want to be the reason I miss my sister's wedding. My gut tells me to stay away, but I also don't want to regret not being there years down the line. I'll update again after I talk to Mason and make my final decision about the wedding. Update 2. It's been a week since my last update, and so much has happened. The wedding was yesterday, but before I get to that, I need to share what I discovered in the days leading up to it. After my last update, I texted Mason asking him directly why he and Derek seemed so obsessed with me and why they were trying to drive a wedge between Ryan and me. He never responded to my text. Frustrated by his silence, I decided to confront him in person. I asked my dad to come with me for support, and to make sure things didn't get out of hand. We went to Derek's apartment, knowing Mason was staying with him until the wedding. When we arrived, Derek wasn't home, but Mason was there. He seemed surprised to see us. After some initial resistance, he invited us in. I got straight to the point and asked why he had been pursuing me so aggressively when he knew I was in a committed relationship. What Mason told us was shocking. According to him, Vanessa had been telling both Derek and Mason that I was unhappy in my relationship with Ryan and was looking for a way out. She claimed I had confided in her that Ryan was just a placeholder until I found someone better, and that I found Mason attractive. She had essentially been painting a completely false picture of my relationship and feelings. Dad and I were stunned. Mason seemed genuinely surprised when I told him that none of what Vanessa had said was true, that Ryan and I were happy together and had been discussing our future. Dad got angry and told Mason to leave me and Ryan alone from now on. After we left, I called Lily and told her what we'd discovered. She wasn't surprised. Apparently, Vanessa had made similar comments to her about being jealous of my relationship with Ryan. Lily said Vanessa had often remarked that she'd never find what I had with Ryan. Things started to make more sense now. Vanessa had been feeding lies to Derek and Mason, possibly out of jealousy or some misguided attempt to help me. But there was still one piece of the puzzle missing. Why was she so desperate to push me and Mason together right now, to the point of creating this wedding drama? The answer came 2 days before the wedding. Vanessa called me out of the blue, saying she wanted to talk. We met at a coffee shop near her apartment. After some awkward small talk, she finally revealed the truth: she's pregnant. She found out about a month before she gave me the ultimatum about Ryan. She explained that she's terrified Derek will leave her if their plan doesn't work out. Apparently, when Derek and Mason first met me at a work event last New Year's, before Vanessa and Derek started dating officially, Mason had mentioned he found me attractive. Vanessa, eager to please Derek and secure his interest, told them I wasn't in a serious relationship, despite Ryan and I having been together for 3 years at that point, and that Mason had a strong chance with me. This lie snowballed over time. When Vanessa discovered she was pregnant, she became even more desperate to maintain the charade, fearing that if Derek found out she'd been lying, he might leave her to raise the baby alone. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My own sister had been actively trying to sabotage my relationship for almost 2 years, all to maintain her own. In a moment of frustration, I told her that I found it pathetic that she would date any man who showed interest in marriage, regardless of character, and predicted her marriage wouldn't last. I regretted the harshness of my words immediately, but the damage was done. Vanessa left the coffee shop in tears. Later that evening, she texted me saying I was still invited to the wedding as a guest, but she didn't want me to be a bridesmaid anymore. She also said Ryan could come after all, but made it clear she didn't want to see much of either of us. After discussing it with Ryan, we decided to attend the ceremony as guests and leave immediately afterward. Ryan felt it was important for me to be there for my sister despite everything, saying he didn't want me to regret missing it years later. He's always been better at seeing the big picture than I am. James and Noah decided to remain in the wedding party but arranged to walk together as a pair rather than split up. Lily, who had been relatively quiet throughout this drama, chose to stay as a bridesmaid but made it clear to Vanessa that she disapproved of how she'd treated me. The day before the wedding, we all took family pictures at a local park so our parents would have photos of all their children together. Despite the tension, we managed to get through the photo shoot without incident. As for the wedding itself, I wore the bridesmaid dress I'd already purchased. It was a beautiful dress, and I wasn't going to buy another one just because I'd been demoted to guest. Ryan and I arrived just before the ceremony began to minimize interactions with extended family who might ask questions. A few aunts and uncles did ask why I wasn't in the wedding party. I simply said there had been a disagreement and suggested they ask Vanessa for details. I spent most of the ceremony with my cousins, who were already aware of the situation and supportive of me. Ryan and I sat in the front row, where Vanessa, Derek, and Mason could clearly see us. Ryan held my hand throughout the ceremony, occasionally giving it a reassuring squeeze. I caught Mason staring at me once during the ceremony, but quickly shut it down by leaning into Ryan and whispering something in his ear. As soon as Vanessa and Derek walked back down the aisle as husband and wife, Ryan and I slipped out. We said quick goodbyes to a few family members and headed to a nearby bar where we spent the evening dancing and enjoying each other's company, far away from the wedding drama. Lily called me this morning to fill me in on what happened at the reception. Apparently, after a few drinks, she became quite vocal about her disappointment in Vanessa's behavior. James and Noah also told several family members about how Vanessa had treated me. My older brother, Noah, apparently had a private conversation with Mason, though Lily didn't know what was said. I don't expect an apology from Vanessa anytime soon, and honestly, I don't care anymore. I'm ready to move on with my life and limit my contact with her for the foreseeable future. Ryan and I had already planned a vacation to Europe this summer, and now we might extend it. We've been talking more seriously about our future together, and this whole ordeal has only strengthened our relationship. In a strange way, I'm grateful this happened. It's shown me who truly cares about my happiness and who doesn't. It's also made me appreciate Ryan even more. His patience and support throughout this mess have been unwavering. Update 3. It's been 6 months since Vanessa's wedding, and I thought I'd provide one final update on how things have played out. Ryan and I went on our European vacation as planned and extended it by an extra week. We spent time in France, Italy, and Spain, completely disconnected from the family drama back home. Those 3 weeks gave us the space we needed to process everything that had happened and to focus on our relationship. While in Paris, Ryan proposed. It wasn't a grand gesture, just the two of us on a quiet bridge at sunset, but it was perfect. We're planning a small ceremony next spring with just close friends and family. Upon returning home, I maintained minimal contact with Vanessa. She texted a few times about trivial things, never acknowledging what happened before the wedding. I kept my responses brief and cordial. A month after her wedding, she announced her pregnancy to the family, pretending it was newly discovered. Everyone acted surprised, though Lily, James, Noah, and I knew the truth. As for Derek and Mason, I haven't seen either of them since the wedding. Ryan ran into Mason at a local bar about 2 months ago. According to Ryan, Mason apologized for his behavior and admitted that he should have questioned Vanessa's claims about my relationship status. Ryan accepted his apology but made it clear that we had no interest in building a friendship with him. My relationship with my parents has improved. Dad was supportive from the beginning, but Mom initially placed too much emphasis on keeping the peace rather than addressing the actual problem. After seeing how the situation played out, she apologized for not standing up for me more firmly. We've had several good conversations about setting boundaries and the importance of mutual respect in family relationships. James, Noah, and Lily remain my strongest allies. We get together regularly for dinner or game nights, often including Ryan and occasionally my parents. These gatherings have become a safe space where we can be ourselves without walking on eggshells. 3 months after the wedding, Vanessa and Derek had a major fight that spilled onto social media. From what I gathered through family reports, Derek discovered that Vanessa had been lying about various things, not just the situation with me and Mason. They separated briefly but reconciled before the baby was born. Vanessa gave birth to a healthy baby boy last month. I sent a gift and a card but declined the invitation to visit at the hospital. I'm not ready for that level of interaction yet. Mom has been sending me photos of my nephew, and he's adorable. Despite my issues with Vanessa, I don't want to punish an innocent child by being completely absent from his life. I'll find a way to be a good aunt while maintaining appropriate boundaries with his mother. Ryan and I bought a house recently, about an hour away from my parents. The distance gives us some independence while still allowing for regular family visits. We've been furnishing it slowly and making it our own. It feels good to be building something positive together after all the negativity we experienced. Last week, I received a letter from Vanessa. In it, she acknowledged her behavior before the wedding but stopped short of a genuine apology, framing her actions as doing what she thought was best for everyone. She expressed hope that we could move forward as a family for the sake of her son. It wasn't the heartfelt apology I might have hoped for, but it was something. I'm still deciding how to respond to her letter. Part of me wants to have an honest conversation where I clearly express how her actions hurt me. Another part thinks it might be better to simply move forward with clear boundaries rather than reopening old wounds. For now, I've decided to take some time before responding. As for my relationships moving forward, I've established a new normal. I see my parents regularly but make it clear when certain topics are off limits. I spend quality time with my siblings who showed their loyalty during the wedding drama. With Vanessa, I'm cautiously rebuilding a minimal relationship, sending birthday wishes, acknowledging major life events, and occasionally asking about my nephew, but nothing beyond that. Ryan and I are focusing on our future together. The wedding planning is underway, and we're keeping it simple and stress-free. No elaborate bridal parties, no family drama, just a celebration of our relationship with the people who truly support us. If there's one thing I've learned from this experience, it's the importance of standing your ground when someone crosses your boundaries, even if that someone is family. I don't regret my decision to attend Vanessa's wedding as a guest rather than compromising my relationship with Ryan to please her. That decision set the tone for how I would handle future interactions with her, with respect but also with firm boundaries. I don't know what the future holds for my relationship with Vanessa. Perhaps, as time passes and she settles into motherhood, she'll gain some perspective on her actions. Or maybe our relationship will remain distant but cordial. Either way, I'm at peace with my decisions and focused on building a life with someone who has proven his worth through both good times and bad. Thank you to everyone who offered advice and support throughout this journey. Your perspectives helped me navigate a difficult situation with clarity and confidence. Now let's move to the next story. Story 2. I moved across the country for my wife's dream job only to discover she orchestrated the whole move to be with her affair partner and she lost everything. I need to get this off my chest. My wife, 28F, and I, 32M, have been together for 7 years, married for 4. We met during her first year of medical residency when I was flying regional routes. Back then, we were both struggling, she with her crazy hospital hours and me with my irregular flight schedule. But somehow we made it work. I fell in love with her dedication and how she always made time for us despite her hectic schedule. We were living in South Carolina, close to both our families. I come from a big Southern family, 3 sisters, lots of cousins, weekly Sunday dinners. Her family is smaller but equally close-knit. Our life wasn't perfect but it was good. We had our routines, our favorite places, our group of friends we'd known forever. Last year, my wife got a job offer from a prestigious hospital in California. The salary was almost double what she was making, plus better benefits and research opportunities. Initially, I was completely against moving. My entire life is here, my family has lived in South Carolina for generations. But she was so excited about this opportunity. I'd never seen her as light up like that before. She talked about it constantly, showed me pictures of the hospital, researched the area. After 2 weeks of watching her excitement, I decided maybe change wouldn't be so bad. As a commercial airline pilot, I can work from any major hub. It took some negotiations with my airline, but I managed to get a transfer to LAX. The relocation program from her hospital made everything else easy. They helped us sell our house, found us a new place in California, even arranged the movers. Within 2 months of accepting the offer, we were living on the West Coast. The first 3 months were great. She loved her new job and seemed to be thriving. I adjusted to my new flight routes. We spent weekends exploring our new city, trying different restaurants, hiking in the mountains. It felt like we were on an adventure together. Then things started changing. My wife has always been a homebody. Even during medical school, she preferred staying in and watching movies over going out. Her idea of socializing was having a couple friends over for dinner. But suddenly, she started going out multiple nights a week. At first, I was happy for her. Moving to a new city can be lonely, and I thought she was finally making friends. The first red flag was when she changed her phone's passcode. We've always had each other's passwords, not because we snooped, but because it was convenient. Her code had been the same since we started dating, her grandmother's birthday. One day my phone died while I was waiting for an important call from my chief pilot. When I tried to use her phone, I couldn't get in. When I asked her about it, she just shrugged and said she wanted to change things up. She never gave me the new code. Then she started dressing differently. My wife has always been conservative in her style. She says it's important to look professional as a doctor. But she started wearing more makeup, bought new clothes, and even got her nails done in bright red. This might sound trivial, but my wife hates red. She says it reminds her of blood from the hospital. She's never worn red anything in the 7 years we've been together. When I commented on it, she said her colleagues told her she needed to look more put together. The final straw was last week. She told me she had to attend a late-night emergency meeting at the hospital. But when I checked our shared credit card statement, there was a charge from a restaurant across town at the same time. She's never lied to me before. I decided to find out what was really going on. I told her I had a flight to Chicago and would be gone all day. Instead of going to work, I parked my car at the intersection near our house at 4:30 a.m. Sure enough, 30 minutes after I supposedly left for work, a black Mercedes pulled into our driveway. I recorded everything on my phone. I waited 15 minutes before walking in. Found them cuddled up on our couch, the couch we picked out together at Pottery Barn, watching our Netflix account. The guy practically ran out when he saw me. He's another doctor from her hospital, an attending physician who helped her get the job. My wife completely broke down. Started crying and begging me not to leave her. Said it was a mistake and she'd end it immediately. But how do I trust anything she says now? She moved us across the country, away from everyone I know and love, just to be closer to her affair partner. Now I'm stuck in this beautiful California house that I hate, sharing space with someone I can barely look at. Her family keeps calling and messaging me. Her mother even flew out from South Carolina to talk to me. They're saying I can't abandon her in a new city where she doesn't know anyone. But what about me? She abandoned me emotionally months ago. She's trying everything to fix this. Sends me constant updates about where she is and what she's doing. Gave me all her passwords and access to her location. Offered to quit her job and move back east. She's sleeping in the guest room while I took the master bedroom. Last night she came to my room crying, begging me to let her sleep next to me like before. I couldn't even look at her. I spoke to a lawyer yesterday. Since California is a no-fault state, her cheating won't matter much in the divorce. We'd have to sell the house and split everything 50-50. Starting over at 32 terrifies me, but staying here and pretending everything is fine seems impossible. The worst part is that we moved here for her dream job. I left everything, my family's Sunday dinners, my sister's kids growing up, my friends, my comfort zone, just to support her career. And this is how she repays me. Every time she's late from work or gets a text, I wonder if she's meeting him again. I keep thinking about all the nights she was supposedly working late or having dinner with new friends. Were they all lies? My parents want me to come back home. They said I can stay with them until I figure things out. But running away feels like letting her win. Plus, I finally have a good schedule at LAX. Moving back would mean starting over career-wise too. I know everyone says marriage counseling helps, but I don't see how talking about our feelings will make me forget finding them on our couch. She betrayed me in our new home, the home we bought to start our new life. Every room reminds me of her lies. I feel so lost and alone in this city. The only person I knew here turned out to be a cheater. I miss my old life, my friends, my weekly family dinners, my nieces and nephews. I miss the person I thought my wife was. But that person probably never existed. What should I do? Stay and try to work it out? Move back home? Get divorced? Nothing feels right anymore. Update 1, 2 weeks later. The past 2 weeks have been a complete nightmare. After my last post, I finally broke down and told my friends back home what happened. I needed someone to talk to besides my family, who keep telling me to think about my future and not make any hasty decisions. My best friend Jake, who works in IT security, offered to help me recover deleted texts from my wife's phone. Since she had given me all her passwords as a show of transparency, I decided to take him up on his offer. I know some people might say this was wrong, but I needed to know the full truth before making any decisions about our marriage. What we found destroyed any hope I had of salvaging our relationship. The affair didn't start 2 months ago like she claimed. They've been seeing each other since our second week in California. Every late night at the hospital during her orientation period was a lie. Every emergency meeting was a date with him. The texts go back 6 months, long before we even moved. But here's the part that made me physically sick: she knew him before we moved. They met at a medical conference in San Diego last year, 3 months before she got the job offer. The text revealed that they kept in touch after the conference. He told her about an upcoming position at his hospital. She specifically applied there because of him. Their messages were like reading a completely different person's conversations. My wife, who I thought was shy and reserved, was sending him flirty texts and inappropriate pictures while we were still living in South Carolina. They were planning meetups at the conference while I was helping her practice her presentation at home. When I confronted her with the evidence, she had a complete breakdown. Not the crying and begging from before, but a full collapse. She admitted everything. The job offer wasn't random. He had pushed her application through, used his influence as a senior attending to get her the position. They had been planning this move together for months while I was saying goodbye to my family and friends, thinking I was supporting my wife's career. I called her parents to tell them what I discovered. Their reaction shocked me. Her mother, who had been calling me daily begging me to forgive her daughter, went completely silent. Then she started crying. Turns out, my wife had done something similar in college. Her ex-boyfriend convinced her to transfer universities to be with him, then cheated on her with multiple women. Her parents had helped her through that betrayal, watched her rebuild her life. They thought she had learned her lesson about following men and letting them control her life. Now she had become exactly what she once hated. I couldn't stay in that house another minute after learning all this. Packed some clothes and moved into an extended stay hotel near the airport. My lawyer says we can file for divorce next week. California requires 6 months of residency before filing, so we have to wait until then. Just a few more weeks. The truth about their affair is spreading at the hospital. Someone from HR called me yesterday. Apparently, there's a strict policy about disclosing personal relationships during the hiring process. Any connection between existing staff and potential hires must be reported to avoid favoritism. My wife is being investigated for ethics violations. Her dream job might end before it really begins. The biggest bombshell dropped yesterday. His wife showed up at our house looking for me. Turns out he's married with 2 kids. His wife had no idea about the affair until she saw some suspicious charges on their credit card and hired a private investigator. She tracked me down through hospital records. We talked for hours. She shared similar stories about other young doctors he had pursued. He has a pattern: finds talented women at medical conferences, mentors them, helps them get positions at his hospital, starts affairs with them, then moves on to the next target when he gets bored. His wife stayed because of their kids and his threats to destroy her financially if she left. My wife keeps calling and texting, saying she can explain everything. Says she got caught up in his manipulation but realized she made a mistake. Says she truly loves me and the job and affair were separate things in her mind. How stupid does she think I am? She orchestrated this entire move, uprooted my life, all to be closer to her affair partner. I've lost all respect for her. The woman I married would never have done this. She was kind, honest, dedicated to helping others. This person who replaced her is a stranger who lies as easily as breathing. Even now, she's trying to minimize what she did, saying she never meant to hurt me. As if plotting for months to move across the country for her affair partner was an accident. I keep thinking about all the little moments during our move that now make sense. How she insisted on this specific house because it was closer to the hospital. How she was texting constantly during our drive across the country. How she wanted to arrive a week early for orientation when her job didn't actually start for another month. My family wants me to come home, but I'm staying until the divorce is final. I'm not running away and letting her spin some story about how I abandoned her. She's the one who destroyed our marriage. She's the one who has to live with the consequences. I just feel numb now. 7 years of my life were a lie. The person I trusted most in the world betrayed me in the worst possible way. I don't know how I'll ever trust anyone again. Update 2, 1 month later. Things have taken an unexpected turn since my last update. The story keeps getting worse, but at least now I know I'm not alone in this mess. Sarah, the other doctor's wife, reached out to me again last week. We met for coffee and spent hours comparing notes. What she revealed made me realize my wife wasn't just having an affair, she was another victim in this guy's twisted game. According to Sarah, her husband has been doing this for years. He's a well-respected surgeon at the hospital, sits on the hiring committee, and uses his position to target young female doctors. The pattern is always the same. He attends medical conferences looking for potential targets, usually ambitious young doctors who want to advance their careers. He mentors them, makes them feel special, helps them get positions at his hospital, and then starts affairs with them. Sarah found records going back 5 years. There were 3 other doctors before my wife. Each time, he helped them get jobs at the hospital, had affairs with them for a few months, then moved on to someone new. When they threatened to expose him, he used his influence to make their lives difficult. One of them had to leave medicine entirely after he spread rumors about her mental health. The hospital investigation has uncovered even more dirt. My wife wasn't the only one he was pursuing. They found inappropriate texts with 2 other new female doctors. He had recommended both of them for positions at the hospital. The hiring committee is now reviewing every female doctor he endorsed over the past 5 years. My wife finally broke down and told me everything when I confronted her with this information. He approached her at the conference when she was presenting her research. Praised her work, told her she was wasting her talent at our small hospital back home. He started mentoring her, introducing her to important people in their field. When the position at his hospital opened up, he promised to help her get it, but made it clear there were strings attached. She claims she tried to end it several times, but he threatened to ruin her career. Said he would tell everyone she slept her way into the position, make sure no reputable hospital would hire her. She was trapped in a situation of her own making, too ashamed to tell me the truth and too scared to end the affair. Part of me almost felt sorry for her until I remembered how she lied to me for months. She had multiple chances to come clean. Instead, she made me leave everything behind, my family, friends, my whole life, so she could pursue this affair. She's not just a victim, she's also a willing participant who chose her career over our marriage. Sarah and I have decided to work together. We're both filing for divorce and helping the hospital build a case against him. 3 of his previous victims have come forward after hearing about the investigation. One of them had documented everything, emails, texts, hotel receipts. She was too scared to come forward alone, but now she's ready to tell her story. The hospital placed him on administrative leave pending the investigation. His lawyer sent both Sarah and me threatening letters, telling us to back off or face legal action. But we're not backing down. Too many lives have been ruined by his predatory behavior. My wife is facing her own consequences. The ethics committee is reviewing her hiring process. She'll probably lose her position once they confirm she failed to disclose her relationship with him. Her medical license could also be in jeopardy due to the ethics violations. She tried to talk to me yesterday, wanted to explain herself again. Said she never meant for any of this to happen, that she got caught up in his manipulation and lost sight of what really mattered. Too little, too late. Even if she was manipulated by him, she made her choices. She chose to pursue the affair, chose to lie to me, chose to move us across the country under false pretenses. The divorce papers are ready. Just waiting for the residency requirement to be met so we can file. Sarah introduced me to her divorce lawyer, who specializes in cases involving medical professionals. He thinks we can both get better settlements given the circumstances of our cases. The house is on the market. I'm still staying at the extended stay hotel near the airport. It's not ideal, but it's better than being in that house with all those memories. Sarah and I have become unlikely friends through all this. We meet for coffee regularly, support each other through the tough days. It helps to have someone who truly understands what I'm going through. Looking back, there were so many red flags I missed. But I never imagined my wife could be capable of such deception. I trusted her completely, supported her dreams, moved across the country for her. Now I'm left picking up the pieces of my life while she faces the consequences of her choices. Update 3, 3 months later. Finally, I can see the light at the end of this dark tunnel. The divorce is moving forward, and I'm starting to rebuild my life. We sold the house last week, made a decent profit due to the crazy California real estate market. My lawyer managed to negotiate a favorable settlement considering all the circumstances. She's not fighting me on anything, probably because she knows how bad it would look if this whole story came out in court. I got approved for a transfer back to my old hub in South Carolina. My airline was surprisingly understanding about the situation. My old captain even pulled some strings to get me my preferred routes back. I start next month. The fallout at the hospital has been massive. The investigation concluded last week. They found evidence of similar behavior with 5 other doctors over the years. My wife wasn't his first victim, but hopefully, she'll be his last. He's been fired and the medical board is reviewing his license. Sarah told me he's also facing criminal charges for harassment and coercion. My wife lost her position at the hospital after the ethics committee confirmed she failed to disclose her relationship during the hiring process. Her medical license is under review. Apparently lying on hospital applications is taken very seriously in California. She's moved back in with her parents in South Carolina. Last I heard, she's working at an urgent care clinic while waiting for her license review. Sarah and I have stayed in touch through all this. We've become good friends, bonded by shared trauma, I guess. Her divorce is also moving forward. She got full custody of their kids and a substantial settlement after his other victims came forward. She's moving back to her hometown in Oregon next month to be closer to her family. My ex-wife tried to contact me one last time before I left California. Sent me a long email about how she started therapy, realized how badly she messed up, understood now why she was vulnerable to his manipulation. Said she'll regret ruining our marriage for the rest of her life. I didn't respond. Some betrayals are too deep to forgive. Her family has been surprisingly supportive of my decision to divorce. Her mother even called to apologize for initially pressuring me to work things out. Said she was wrong to ask me to forgive something so calculated and deliberate. Looking back, this whole experience has taught me a lot about myself. Yes, I lost a year of my life and had to start over, but I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I didn't break when my world fell apart. I didn't let her manipulation make me doubt myself. I stood my ground and fought for what was right. The hardest part wasn't discovering the affair or even filing for divorce. It was accepting that the person I loved never really existed. The kind, honest woman I married was a facade. The real person underneath was capable of lying to my face for months, manipulating me into leaving everything behind, all for her own selfish desires. To everyone who supported me through this journey, thank you. Your advice helped me stay strong when I wanted to give in. Sometimes the hardest part isn't leaving, it's staying gone. But I did it, and I'm finally starting to feel like myself again. Next week, I'm flying back to South Carolina for good. My sisters are helping me look for an apartment near our parents' house. It feels right to be going home. The California dream turned into a nightmare, but at least I'm walking away with my dignity intact and my eyes wide open. The experience changed me, but not in the way my ex-wife probably hoped. Instead of breaking me, it made me stronger. Instead of making me bitter, it made me wiser. And most importantly, it taught me that sometimes the best path forward is the one that leads back home.